What's up guys, I just wanted to drop a quick video. So in this video I'm going to present you the 3 big copywriting mistakes that are costing you clients right now. Essentially I see this all the time. Some of these mistakes are literally separating the broke copywriters, 0 outreach responses. All of you came to me asking why nobody's replying to my messages. With 0 landing clients, making less than $1,000 a month, and essentially having an existential crisis every 5 outreaches, thinking why am I listening to these gurus? And trust me guys, I was in the same place. And you have the successful copywriter, where clients basically love their copy, they flawlessly generate millions for their clients. They seem to know something you don't know. And they're making between 5,000 to 10,000 a month. And you're just wondering, what am I doing wrong? It seems so close, but yet so far. These mistakes are costing you thousands you could have in your bank account right now. But after this video, you'll be able to instantly fix them, okay? Because with this video, my aim is to get you much closer to achieving your copywriting dream, okay? So, without further ado, let's get into the 3 mistakes. So the first mistake, you are using too complex words. Okay guys, I see this all the time, and trust me, I did this at the beginning so much because I thought copywriting was all about writing, and I thought the more knowledge and the more language I had, and I watch all these big YouTubers who had these big words coming out of their mouth, and it's like, no. You need to fight against what I call the writer's ego, the urge that you have inside to just try to prove yourself as a writer by using all these complex words, but you really don't need to use them, okay? And you'll be seeing why. First of all, this is the first commandment of sales, marketing, and copywriting is emotional, not logical. Okay, repeat after me. Copywriting is emotional, not logical, because people buy on emotions, never on logic. Even when they say, oh, but I thought about buying this thing for a long time and I calculated all the pros and cons. Every time a customer buys, every time you buy something, it's always impulsive, okay? No matter how much logic there is behind, no matter how much you try to actually go ahead and justify the price and why you need it, it's always impulsive, okay? So it's 100% emotional. Humans are 100% emotional creatures, even when we try and fool ourselves that we aren't. So this is so important. Basically, people don't give a fuck about how smart your copy sounds if you can spark any emotion, right? Copy is aimed at the general public, okay? There's the general public and you need to oftenly aim at them. Okay, there's exceptions, like let's say you have a very high-class public that has a very, very good vocabulary, then you can make an exception for that. But oftenly, 99.9% of the times, copy is aimed at the general public. So it must remain simple and easy to read, okay? So remember guys, we are here to make money, okay? We're not here to sound fancy and appeal to niche audiences. We're here to make money either for ourselves or for our clients, who will then pay us. Gentlemen, in business and money making in general, you know what the #1 priority is? Zeros entering our bank account is a #1 priority, always, okay? So for a few hours a day, please simply put your ego to the side, okay? Think about this, think about the priority, think about why you're doing this, because more audience translates into more money. Simple as that, okay? If we try to sound smart, we will end up being the smartest in the room, but still broke, okay? As witty as we want, but still no money in our pockets, okay? Great copywriters, A-list copywriters understand this. So always appeal to big audiences, to broad audiences, okay? You need to be thinking in big scale. Let me show you an example in case you don't believe me. Basically, this isn't even copywriting, this is about book publishing, okay? When Stephen Hawking wanted to publish his book called A Brief History of Time, every publishing house warned Stephen Hawking about this. They told him that for every hard physical equation that he included in the book, 50% of the readers would stop reading. So essentially being smart equaled less money. And in case of Stephen Hawking, maybe less money wasn't an issue because he's rich, but less people would hear his message. And that was his main goal, right? To extend his message throughout the surface of Earth. So yeah guys, The general rule of thumb is in copywriting, never use words that you wouldn't hear in a casual conversation, like at a bus stop or a bar. You need to sound like a friend, never like a science paper, okay? So once you understand this, your copy will be a million times better. Let me tell you guys, this is so common. I see this all the time. All this bland, boring, dull looking copy that I'm reading it. It's like, I have zero emotional connection with this copy. I don't feel like the screen is speaking to me. I feel like I'm reading a science paper. It needs to be like speaking to a friend. So let me show you some examples. This is some hard to read copy. So this is a headline. It says 3 hefty professional endeavors which are going to be bringing in delightful repercussions in the year 2025. And the same message could be conveyed in these words. 3 big business models that are taking over in 2025. Everybody understands the green one. Everybody understands the second one. And the best part, it uses less words. So you need to use shorter words, less words, and easier, more common words. Essentially, your copy should be as short, as concise as possible, okay? Short and simple is always better than long and tedious. So cut out the fluff, okay? Literally all the fluff out of here. Whenever you write copy, you write it, and you reread it, and you modify it. And you can even modify it 10 times. Cut out the fluff, always cut out the fluff, okay? Okay, that's the first mistake a lot of you guys are making. So the second mistake, the focus should be on them, not you, okay? It should be on them, not you. They must be the center of the universe. When they say the customer's always right, it's for a reason. It's not because the companies are so sweet and all this stuff. It's because they know focusing on the customer and treating them like a king is the way to get sales, right? This one is really easy to understand. The reader, what the fuck I wrote? The reader is being constantly bombarded with information, right? Ads here, thumbnails there, but all the time they're trying to entertain themselves, okay? They're there for themselves. The average user is utterly selfish. They don't care about your product, and lo and behold, they don't care about you, okay? That's the last thing in the world they care about, some stranger. So everybody browses the internet simply looking at their own belly button, right? So to make them like your copy, you must shift the focus, right, from you, them, okay? You need to start focusing on them. Focus should never be on you. It should be on them, and maybe it's sometimes in the product, but it should always end up on them. The only exception to this is obviously storytelling. If you're telling a personal story, you have some connection. You should have some previous connection with your email list or whoever you're reaching out to. Storytelling is the only exception, but always end the message talking about them. So if you do some storytelling, it's like, I use this story to explain something that will benefit you, okay? This is easily applicable by the famous feature plus benefit method. I've spoken about this so many times on my channel before. By mentioning a feature and then instantly saying why it benefits the reader, you are creating a much better impression on the reader. Basically, the reader is constantly reading through your copy and being internally like, so what? What is there for me? What do I gain from this? Why are you losing my time? I am scrolling to TikTok all day. I'm so busy scrolling to TikTok. I have so much things to do. I have to scroll more. And then I stop on your video and you didn't even tell me there's anything for me. I'm selfish. I need something for me. That's what the client is thinking in their mind. Okay, so some examples. For example, you want to say something like, learn how to build a strong body that, what the fuck, why is it repeated? Anyways, learn how to build a strong body that commands attention and respect by others. Okay, so the feature is build a strong body. And the client could be like, so what? What's in there for me? Why would I care about this? And then you say, because a strong body commands attention and respect by others. That's the clear benefit. Basically, people don't really care that much about having a strong body. Yeah, looking in the mirror is nice for 5 minutes, but essentially you have to press some pain points. They have a boss that talks down to them and looks at them over the shoulder because they are weakling And they think in their mind, if they can be strong enough and pack some muscles, their boss will respect them, their friends will respect them, other men will respect them, because they see themselves as weak and they want to stop that. So you sell them the idea of commanding attention, not the strong body. Another one, follow these 5 trading principles and make extra 2,000 this month. Why would they care about 5 trading principles? Like, that's boring. But if you promise them to make extra 2,000 cash this month, extra pocket money, so they can buy something nice, they all over it. They will be all over it. Okay, so always mention the benefit. The third mistake is that your copy doesn't pass the butter test. Okay, turn your copy into a slippery slope. So you may be wondering, what the fuck is the butter test? Okay, I call the butter test or the slippery slope test the idea or the metaphor that copy should be like a slippery slope where your reader or your prospect, like where the reader basically slides on, okay, effortlessly. So let me explain this with an example, because I think with a real life example or a story, it would be much easier to understand. So let me tell you a story. Imagine you're on a seemingly perfect romantic date, okay? Basically, imagine this. The food is tasty and juicy, almost melting in your mouth. The wine is flowing, making you feel all warm and dizzy. Your date is smirking at you, running their fingers across your hand in an obviously flirty way. And now the two of you finish dinner and happily go back to your apartment, okay? Everything's going nice. Everything's flowing. And now imagine that the second you get home, you straight up get butt naked, okay? Like this image, like the naked method by How I Met Your Mother. Imagine you do this, okay? Your date would probably make the most disgusted face ever and slap you in the face, running away. And with the end of the story, can you pinpoint the precise moment that ruined the entire mood? I think it's very easy, guys. Because the thing is, most people build and trick right, okay? You do that right, it's not hard, okay? People are curious by nature. But at the very peak of it, they do something that ruins the mood. Don't do this, guys. This is so important. You need to keep the mood going. Imagine if instead of doing that in your date, you decide to go home, play some nice jazz music as you go to the apartment, pour the two of you some more nice wine, put on a scary movie. Basically, 5 minutes into the movie, it would be game over. Like, literally, it would be impossible for the date to go wrong, right? And if you did the butt naked method, you would simply seem extremely desperate. Now, don't be fooled. This applies to copywriting as well, okay? In copy, just like in seduction, everything needs to flow. Everything just needs to, flow a little bit. And when you cut to the chase too quickly, which I see a lot, you risk seeming needy and unconfident, and the reader can sense that. The reader has a sixth sense for this thing, just like we humans have. We have a sense when somebody's trying too hard to sell us something, when somebody's too desperate, too needy. Okay, when we buy something, we want it to have some status. We want them to not care if we buy it or not. Now the question you may be asking, Paul, how do I make sure my copy flows? Okay, this seems so easy spoken, but what are the methods? Okay, let me give you some quick tips that you can apply to your copy today and will make your copy flow so much. Number 1, literally read it out loud. Okay, read it out loud. Fuck. If I had applied my method to this, I would have seen that it says if. Anyways, literally read it out loud. Okay, there's no better method to test if a copy flows. Sit there, not in your head, literally read it out loud, or maybe have somebody read it for you so you have a better idea of how it sounds. And whenever you stop somewhere, there's something wrong. There's something that needs to be fixed. Whenever you're reading the copy and you stop at a line, it's like, mark it with red and later edit it, because there's something wrong there. There's something that needs to be fixed. Okay, because if you, the own creator of your copy who will love it the most, stop because the flow is being disrupted at that place, at that line. Imagine somebody who has no idea of who you are and doesn't give a fuck about your copy, doesn't give a solitary fuck about your copy. Imagine if the flow just breaks there. They will stop reading. They will not get to the link. All you need to do in an email, for example, or in a sales page is get them to scroll to the bottom where the link is or the sales is. And if they stop scrolling, it's over. Your copy is shit. It could be perfect after that, but if they stop there, if the retention rate drops 50% there, it's over for you, okay? Second one, use connectors, okay? Like questions and guess what's, etc. Okay, you can come up with these. This is a clear example. It says, and I thought I was destined to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, but none of this mattered. Why? Because even though I had failed at almost every other real estate method, blah 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 blah. Imagine if instead of like using these two connectors, imagine it just said, and I thought I was destined to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. Because even though I had failed at almost every other real estate method, notice how it flows much better when it has questions in the middle, because not only it just stops and it gives you a second to think about what you just processed, but it lets the copy breathe. Notice how there's so much white space. We're gonna talk about that later, but there's so much white space here. It's just visually more appealing. It looks like less work. Okay, number 3. Keep phrases short and concise, 2 lines max. Okay, your copy should have a lot of blank space. It should look like this. Okay, look at all the blank space. It just doesn't look like work. It just looks, look here. 1 word, 4 words, 3 words, 4 words. Like it should look like this. You just read it. You can kind of skim read it. You can jump from line to line so easily. It just flows. Avoid paragraphs and big chunks of text like it's the plague. You need to do one-liners all the time. Okay. Next. Make sure you don't try to sell the reader too early on. What did we explain with the date example? Why was this needy? Why was this weird? Because we tried to get more intimate too quickly. Okay, it just came across as desperate. You just can't wait. It's like you're giddy about it. You can't wait. You just almost jump into it. It's like, bro, chill. Okay, and in copy it's the same. When you try to sell the reader too early on, it just disrupts the flow like crazy. I see this all the time. These emails. You're telling a story, and all of a sudden you're like, I have 3 spots on my mentoring course, and it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I don't know this guy. You're telling me a fucking story, and all of a sudden you're telling me that you have 3 spots in your fucking mentorship. Like, why do I care? Why does the reader care? Nobody cares. It needs to flow. It needs to flow, guys. Remember the date thing. Instead of just doing the butt naked method, you just play some music. You put it to some nice wine. You set the mood. You put in a scary movie. Ooh, the lights are dim and low. You need to flow. It just needs to flow like butter. You cannot sell the reader too early on. It doesn't work like that. This is like worm approach a little bit, okay? And lastly, I wanted to remind you why it's so important. Breaking the flow breaks all the trust, and we rely heavily on that, guys. If not merely, we rely on trust as copywriters. We are basically a stranger, and through text, not even like real face interaction or my voice, not even like they cannot even recognize a human voice. It could be written by a chat GPT. We are trying to create a connection with a human. There's no voice, there's no face to face, there's no body language involved. It's really hard to create a connection with somebody that is looking at our text through a screen, not even images. So, if we break the very few trust that they already have in us, it's game over. They're not gonna buy anything. They're not gonna click in a link. And trust is the most important thing. It's your number 1 priority over having a crazy offer, over having the cheapest price, over having the more benefits. It's like, bro, trust is so important. If you start mentioning 1 trillion benefits, the trust is broken because they're like, what's the catch? What's the fucking catch? But if you mention there's a catch, you're like, okay, all those benefits, but there's a catch. I want to sell you this ebook for real cheap. That's why the price is so low, because you're gonna get hooked into my product and you're gonna buy later. And you're gonna become a great customer, and I want that. And now the price is justified, and you kind of gain your trust because you lowered your guard a bit, and they can see through your mask a little bit. It's all about gaining the trust, guys. If you break it, there's no way to redo it. It's like a jar. Once you break it, you can try and fix it, but it's broken forever. Okay. The last metaphor that I wanted to apply, just so you understand. Ultimately, your copy should flow downwards like a cascade. Okay, never upwards. You're forced to go down, right? You can't go against the current. Okay, the current is like, it's simply too strong. Imagine you're going down the cascade. You cannot go up. It's just forcing you down the current. Okay, because the text should flow so nice that you simply cannot stop. And why you cannot stop? Because keeping on reading is the path of least resistance. You know, when you are hooked into a book, you're kind of hypnotized almost, you're in a trance. You cannot put it down. Why? Your mom is calling you for dinner, but you cannot pull it down. You gotta finish the chapter. Why is that? Because keeping on reading is the path of least resistance. Keeping on reading your copy should be the path of least resistance. The intrigue you build should be so good that they will read 45 trillion lines of text if it's what it takes to get to the point, to get to the secret that you want to unveil for them. The text should always flow like a cascade, always downwards. Okay, they cannot be like confused of what you say and they have to go up to like kind of remind themselves. No, it should flow. Every point should be flowing now. Every point is intended for every line is intended for the reader to go down, just like a Netflix episode. Think about Game of Thrones episode. How do they end? When they end, they want you to watch the next one. They have a hook at the end, so you want to watch the next one. It's not like you stop and you go to bed. You just think about it. Every ending of an episode in Game of Thrones or any major Netflix show or HBO show is made for you to go to the next one. Essentially, copy is like a cascade in the means that every line has a purpose of setting you down. Okay, it's like slippery slope. Okay, so yeah, I hope you wrote this down because, guys, once I stopped doing all of this, it was like day and night for me. It was like my copy, you would read it and it would hook you out. It would hook you much more. I will get much more response rates. I will get much more people interested in working with me. And essentially, once you understand this and you just kind of like let your ego to the side and you understand that copy is not that much like writing, like writing a novel or a book, but rather is more like marketing. Once you simplify it and you put it on them and you use simple words and you let it flow, you realize that copy is easier than you thought, because trust me, copy is easy to write. The hardest part of copy is doing the market research and all these ideal customer profile and all that stuff. That's the hard part. But literally, once you have the analysis of the perfect clients in your mind, once you know their pain points, once you know their goals, once you know what scares them, writing the copy should be simple. A baby should be able to understand your copy. That's how simple it is to write copy. You do not need all these big words, okay? It's not gonna get you any more comments. So, I hope you understood this video. I hope everything was clear and concise. Again, quick reminder, join my Discord server, apply in the description, opening soon. And I'll see you in the next one. In peace.